Welcome to the boardroom. On our show today, it's now or never for the Michigan hockey team, which sits on the verge of missing the NCAA tournament again. And the offense is exploding for the Michigan baseball team, which is finally into its groove early in the season. And finally, the Michigan football team is springing into action as they begin spring practice this year. I'm your host, Greg Garna, filling in for Max Boltman today, who is out sick with a stomach bug after eating too many Girl Scout cookies. I'm joined by senior sports editor and hockey beat writer Jeremy Summit and broomball sensation and baseball beat writer Ben Fiddleman. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. Guys, let's turn right to the ice where the Wolverines really need a win this weekend. They lost 2 against Penn State, and a win this weekend against Michigan State in East Lansing would really boost them into the Big Ten tournament and kind of boost those hopes for the NCAA postseason. Jeremy, what does this team need to do to kind of get out of the slump from this sweep against Penn State?
Sure, yeah. Locking it down on defense would be their first start. They allowed 10 goals last weekend against Penn State. Not going to win many games, scoring 5 goals, even though Michigan does have the top-ranked offense in the nation. They tried to scoot by with their top offense all year long, and it's kind of coming back to bite them. So locking down defense and getting consistent goaltending out of Steve Racine would be beneficial.
Ben, what are your thoughts on this?
I think just finding a way to win outside of Yost. I mean, away from home this year, Michigan has not been very good. They've been 4-10 on the road while they're 12-2 at home this year. On neutral ice, it's been a little better. In the 4 games they've played, they're 3-1. 2 of those games were at Joe Louis, which is where the Big Ten tournament is being played in 2 weekends. And in those 4 neutral ice games, they've only allowed 5 goals. So that defense you're talking about was really good in neutral ice.
Hey, you guys both touched on defense here. They're ranking near the bottom in NCAA. Is it too late to fix the defense, Ben? And if not, what can they do to fix it?
When you look at the Michigan hockey team, I think this year when they were playing the best, it was when they were really firing on all cylinders on both sides of the puck. I mean, I think there was great defense and great goaltending on their hot streaks, but I also think that being able to lean on guys like J.T. Compher and the scorers that might have been a little bit down this year, a little lower on the list than they were last year, they probably would like to be. I think finding great consistency throughout the lineup would be more important to me.
Jeremy, you agree with that?
Sure, yeah, I think so.
Okay, we're going to turn now to the Diamond, where Michigan baseball, after starting 10-6, will now continue into Kansas this weekend. They're averaging 8 runs in the past 9 contests. Ben, you cover baseball. You're watching them. What has been the key to this surge in offense lately?
It's just great consistency, top to bottom. I think I think it's kind of poetic when you look at it. The leadoff hitter is Jacob Cronenworth. He's a first baseman, and the 9 hitter is Eric Jacobson, is a shortstop now, and they're both hitting .328. I think top to bottom, this lineup's really hitting well. 6 of the starters, the usual starters in the team, are hitting above .300, which is really impressive. I think it's just really thoroughly a great lineup. It's much more balanced this year. It's something that head coach Eric Bakich has talked about a few times today. It feels like this lineup, whether it's more contact, whether it's having a power swing or getting on base, just really thoroughly is a really balanced lineup this year.
Jeremy, can they keep up this offense, or you think this is something that's short term?
Oftentimes, such large offensive outbursts do tend to be short term, but if it doesn't work out, they do have their pitching to fall back on, who I guess their entire starting rotation is pitching under a 3.00 ERA. So that is something to fall back on, surely, if the offense doesn't keep up this hot pace.
Now, it hasn't exactly been smooth sailing for the Michigan baseball team. Against some subpar competition, they've got those 6 losses. Jeremy, what do you think that this team can build off this start and kind of build in momentum this season? I know the Big Ten championship is still something within their sights. Is that realistically something they can still look at this year?
Sure. I mean, it's a long season, and some early season success will surely pay dividends for the underclassmen and instill some confidence in the upperclassmen. I think they're still building, and I think this is supposed to be the year Eric Bakich's crew kind of jams through. So I think that this early season success should transcend into middle season success and late season triumphs.
Ben, do you think that the chances are good for this year?
I think so, and there's been a lot of injuries this year so far with really key players that the team has been relying on the last few years, and having those underclassmen step in right away and not only fill the shoes but also exceed those shoes in some spots and play really well has been key. You have the starting shortstop last year is Travis Mazis. He was injured for, I think he missed 5 games at the beginning of the year, and now he's shifted over from shortstop to third base so he can cover less ground and feel a little bit more comfortable. He's hitting over .300 now, and he's playing more regularly. Jackson Glines, is the team's starting, I believe, his second team All-American or All Big Ten last year. He's starting center fielder, and he's got hitting the thumb of the pitch last week, and he's missed out 3 games last weekend. So, and also the team's best starter from last year, Evan Hill, is out until the start of Big Ten play with a knee injury. So the fact that they've been able to really weather the storm through those injuries and come out with a 10-6 record and have an 8-game win streak is really impressive.
Guys, let's turn finally to the gridiron. Michigan football under first-year coach Jim Harbaugh is resuming spring practice this week, and they're going to have a lot of different storylines coming in. Just today it was announced that Jack Miller, starting center in last year's team, is foregoing his last year of eligibility for academic reasons. Now, guys, I want to talk to you. What do you think are the storylines, or what are you having your eye on heading into spring practice before the spring game? Jeremy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. I'm wondering if Jim Harbaugh will ever change out of his khakis, first of all. And then I also am wondering how the offensive line is going to come into fruition. Of course, the announcement with Jack Miller came as a surprise. I've heard rumblings that Graham Glasgow should be able to fill in rather effectively at that position. So that might be one of my top intriguing storylines this spring.
Ben, aside from the khakis, what are you looking forward to at a spring practice?
Actually, the offensive line is something that I've been looking at a lot too. I know today at availability, some of the players were saying that Glasgow was the one to step in, but another guy that really has been in the eyes of a lot of fans, came in as a really highly touted recruit, is getting Pat Cooler, who played as a backup center, I believe, last year. And so seeing how that line's going to come to the offensive line, seeing guys like David Dawson, Pat Kugler, I believe both came in as 5-star recruits, and see how if that talent can come to fruition and bring that out of them, along with guys like Chris Fox and Logan Tully-Tillman, seeing if those guys can really come together, along with the true freshman last year, Mason Colt.
Sure. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. Hockey is searching for a way to win. Baseball is heating up, and Jim Harbaugh's Twitter game is still impressive. Thanks for joining me, guys, and thank you for joining me. As always, be sure to keep up with our content on MichiganDaily.com. Cheers.